went to the people that he featured on his launch as his all-stars that were his best success stories. I just went and said, hey, if I send you a bunch of people to coach, will you split the profits with me 20-80? I'll give you 20%. And they said, yeah. So I did the event, and then at the event, I was trying to figure out how to get more people in. So I was the first person there I went to the hotel network and said, how can I get access to your dark channel, the channel that plays in on all the TVs? And they said, oh, well, it's expensive to do that. And I said, okay. I said, how expensive is it? And they said, it's going to be $1,200. And I was like, okay. So I created a video to play on all the TVs, telling everybody about my event. I gave the front desk people that were working the morning of the event $100 each, and about 500 copies of a flyer telling people who were registering for that event to come to my thing. And I had 4 people standing out in the street directing people, hey, are you here for the thing? Oh, awesome. Are you going to that thing? It's amazing. And so we ended up, like Mark said, the room was completely full. There were people lined around the outside, and it was about the perimeter, like in this room. But these walls were glass, and up against the glass, there were people around the whole thing. It was really bizarre. And I had never done an event before, so I asked Mark if he would help me, and he did. And he taught me all these cool things. And I remember stepping up. He said you stand in the floor to connect with people. So like if you have a stage, you stand in the floor and you walk around and you connect with people. But when you're going to make your offer, you get up on the stage because that's authority. And I remember stepping up on the stage and thinking, God, I hope this works. I hope it doesn't suck. And we didn't have room for a sales table outside the room, so the sales table was to the right of the stage, which is a big no-no because you're supposed to get people as they're leaving. And when I finished the pitch, there was a line like a Disneyland line. Everybody came in, and it was just stretched around, and we ended up selling $465,000 worth of coaching during that 4-hour little talk. And then after that, built a several $million-a year business doing local marketing stuff. But it was really funny just from that tiny little cloud of volcanic ash that wouldn't let us take off to think about how you can go down. And I like Musk for that, and a lot of the folks that really look at that. So always think about what can you do to leverage what you've already got, and then how can you leverage what you get from what you got and go out as many iterations of that as you possibly can. So let's talk about business model innovation now that we're thinking all creatively. The best way, I think, to disrupt, and disrupt, I think, is a really overused word, but the best way to come up with a disruptive model is to go through, I think, this process. And I haven't seen it done anywhere before, but there's really only a few actual business models. And it's kind of funny, like landlord-tenant. You wouldn't think that landlord-tenant would apply to Uber, but it does. Because the landlord owns the car, the people that are the driver, and the tenant is both Uber for putting someone in the car, but Uber's effectively creating a landlord-tenant relationship with the drivers for a brief minute for a trip, right? And there's affiliate models, pay-as-you-go, publisher franchise, all of these models. And pretty much every business that I've ever come across falls into one of these 14 models. Now, what's really interesting is when you mix it with different pricing models, because I think that there are also 14 basic pricing models that you can use. When you start mixing and matching those, you can get kind of creative. So if you think about for Uber, all Uber did was they said, so I use pricing model and business model. So the business model is broker, connect drivers with passengers. Primary pricing model, volume, they charge a 15 to 30% brokerage fee, which they were on strike in San Francisco last week because both Lyft and Uber are increasing their fee to 50%. Right? So, but that's the primary business model and pricing model. The secondary for them is landlord-tenant, drivers who are renting car space, and tiered based on the type of car requested. Then there's a secondary pricing model of volume, distance, and miles. And then they added a third pricing model, which was a time of day premium or surge pricing, right? Who's had surge pricing? It's so wonderful, right? Then the third one is affiliates. They created an affiliate model for their business to refer fees for new customers. And then they did also the same thing for referral fees for new drivers. So while Uber sounds like it's amazingly disruptive and all, if you know that you can mix and match these business and pricing models, you can take this and apply this to your business and come up with really surprisingly innovative business models and pricing for yourself. And so we did it with Survival Life. We said, okay, what can we do? Well, we can be a direct seller of gadgets that people want. And our pricing model is low price, so that's the tripwire model. So tripwire it's just a neat name to put on top of an old pricing model, right? Low price leader or cost or loss leader. The secondary was cost plus or multiples of cost for upsells to additional products. And then our secondary model on the back of the primary just straight sales model, which has made all the difference and allows us to be really profitable, is a subscription model by having these associations and memberships that charge $10 or $20 a month, right? That's value-based. And then we have added to that a secondary pricing model of we've got the base model that's $10 or $20 a month, and then we've got tiered membership levels to allow us to maximize the profit and allow people to participate at a higher level. And then we did add-ons to that where they get like additional products or things like that. So these are add-on subscriptions added on to the tiered membership levels added on to the subscription. And then we have a publisher model on the back where we go out to other people who are experts in the space and we do free and ad-supported publications of content. And that's, back up one. That's basically what we created for Survival Life. So you can take this for your business too and say, this is where we are right now. This is where you are right now. And then think about using those 7 business models and 7 pricing models. What are the changes that you could make? How could you put those different things to work in your business? And you'd be surprised when you start playing with these things, what you come up with. And then as you layer other things on, even if you've only got one right now, layering other things onto what you've got right now can have a dramatic profit impact on your business. I'm disappointed. So the cool thing here is I think you'll find this really helpful to not only to clarify what you're thinking and thinking about the possibility of additional offers, but I'd really like for you to look at these things and say, how could I apply a landlord-tenant, and that can be, remember, with physical or intellectual property. How can I apply a landlord-tenant model to my business? How can I apply an all-you-can-eat model to my business? How can I apply, ask that question for your business now, because that's why Uber doesn't have to own cars and Airbnb doesn't have to own hotels, is because they decided to apply a different model to a business that everybody thought was incredibly mature. And the more incumbent and mature the business is, like real estate brokerage, the more ripe it is to be able to be doing this exercise. And I think please don't miss the opportunity to question everything about each of these models with respect to what you're doing right now in your existing business, because that's what the innovative stuff comes from. Cool.